Even out, what have you been accomplishing? Did something get done within a month? You've been marching for the fun of it. The only thing you got is exercise.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Let's talk about NXT from November the 23rd, 2021, which is a not bad episode of NXT. I actually quite enjoyed it. There were some things about it that I, of course, had problems with, and we'll get to those. But I think my plan, my idea for the NXT Civil War is finally coming to fruition, and for some reason I'm not happy. Maybe it's because of the people are involved. Maybe because it feels so slapdash and thrown together. I don't know. Let's talk about it though. So Grayson Waller started the night wrestling Tommaso Ciampa. He was defeated by the fairy tale ending. Despite that fact, Grayson Waller looked tremendous. The guy's an incredible athlete. The elbow drop that he did, where he did sort of the clap under the leg, like he was in a basketball game, was pretty dope. You know, also his over his helo over the top rope was pretty dope. How he jumped in the like an acrobat between the bottom ropes was pretty dope too. So the guy is a tremendous athlete. Of course, he's got to work on character and personality and stuff like that, but he's got something. He's got a little bit of something. This leads us to LA Knight, who said he knew Grayson Waller would screw it up because Grayson Waller sucks. And the fans were right that Grayson Waller sucks. Then Joe Gacy interrupted him. Joe Gacy is hilarious. I love Joe Gacy. He said that LA Knight's facts, because he said this is just a fact of life, are destructive and harmful, and that we should not tear each other down but build each other up. LA Knight then said that he's going to meet him in the ring, or meet him in the safe space, to which there will be no microaggressions, just ruthless aggression. But he also said, why is he looking at him like that, and called him a creep, and said, why is he talking like that? He called him a creep. So we lead to the match of Joe Gacy versus LA Knight. The match ends with a no contest. He never even gets started because Grayson Waller attacked LA Knight from behind, and a brawl ensued. They would brawl throughout the show. They would continue to brawl well throughout the show. And when we get to the main event, which is Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunn, and Carmelo Hayes, the brawl would continue. So early in the night, I don't think Johnny Gargano cut a promo. Unless he did and I didn't see it. But Pete Dunn cut a promo, and it was never good. It just feels like he cut a promo and then he pauses. Like he hits those periods pretty hard. Like, I'm the baddest man in NXT. Prove me wrong. It's like, dang, that period, like he reading that period hard as hell. Anyway, he talked about he waited too long to win a title in NXT. So you can send all the geezers you want after him. Then he talked about he's going to send Gargano packing, and that he's going to teach Carmelo Hayes a lesson. So then Carmelo Hayes and Trent Williams cut a promo. These dudes are excellent. I rock with them the hard way, man. They were really good. So I'm trying to find it on my notes. So Trent Williams is like, the disrespect got to stop tonight. And Carmelo Hayes says, nah, the disrespect should have stopped last week. It says that Johnny Gargano talked about being in NXT for 5 years. Like, that's a good thing. It then says that Dunn says we and him the same age, but he got 10 years more experience than me. And he said, Trick Williams like, the boy look 40. That was great. So that takes us to the main event, the triple threat match, Johnny Gargano versus Pete Dunn versus Carmelo Hayes. And this was a very solid match. They still did some indie-rific stuff because Pete Dunn is in it and Johnny Gargano is in it. So they did the two-man Boston Crab where they were stacked on top of each other, and Dunn had both legs under his arm. I was just kind of like, whatever. But it's always very interesting when you have two technicians in a match. You know, two technicians, and I'm guessing Carmelo Hayes is more of a high flyer. Even though I think he's just more speed based. He doesn't really do like flippity doo-dahs. But Carmelo Hayes wins when Tony D'Angelo, who put money on Pete Dunn, which I have to talk about because I have to find that because it was pretty funny. So Tony D'Angelo cut a promo earlier in the night talking about business is booming because he's betting on the main event, and he called Pete Popo, and he said that he has no chance. Then he said that the no shirt wearing Goomba, which is Carmelo Hayes, and he called him humorless Gargano. So he basically said that Pete Popo had no chance, and that they should bet on that. So that's why he interfered, because he had some money on Carmelo Hayes winning, and he came out there to make sure Pete Dunn didn't win. So that was very good. Carmelo Hayes ended up pinning Johnny Gargano. Then there was a huge fight. LA Knight and Grayson Waller came out there. Tony D'Angelo interrupted this fight, apparently beating up on he beat up on LA Knight because they had gotten into some issues, I believe, maybe last week. What week was that when LA Knight and Tony D'Angelo got into it? I'm pretty sure they had some type of interaction. I don't remember when it was, though, because Tony D'Angelo has been sort of getting into it with everybody since he showed up. In any event, they had some back and forth. The big brawl turned into these guys naturally pairing off into teams where D'Angelo helped Hayes and Dunn stomp on Johnny Gargano. They were going to break his hand. And then Tommaso Ciampa ran out there. So Ciampa, Gargano, Knight, and Dunn were a unified force representing the black and gold NXT. While Carmelo Hayes, Tony D'Angelo, Trick Williams, and Grayson Waller were representing the new school of NXT. Then here comes Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker comes out there. He does the official War Games shout, and then he joins the NXT 2.0 team, and they all run into the ring. And they run into the ring, and now it's become this big fight. So I'm not sure which one. Braun Breaker's on the team, but who's off the team? Does that mean Trick Williams is not on the team, or does that mean Grayson Waller is not on the team? I don't know. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I would guess Trick Williams not on the team. So this is fine, but it all feels very slapdash, and they're doing that stupid ladder match gimmick where you have to do the ladder match in order to get in the War Games. I was like, I hate that. It's blowing through ladder matches. You can just do a regular match and have the same outcome. But I am getting what I wanted, but in a form that I really didn't care for. This is fine. I'm also kind of eyebrow raised that Braun Breaker, who is, the top babyface, is teaming with nothing but heels. Because Grayson Waller, I'm guessing, is just playing a heel now. He was the one who kind of just sparked this whole thing off, even though Carmelo Hayes was kind of hinting at it. Grayson Waller basically just lacked any tact whatsoever in dissing the new NXT, dissing the old NXT. So this is going to be a fun match. This match is going to rule. It's going to kick ass for sure, because we got all the best players in this. All the top guys are in this match. The only problem I got is, we need a little bit more story put into it, a little bit more thought put into it. I know that essentially these guys can pair off. Tony D'Angelo has been beefing with LA Knight and Pete Dunn. Carmelo Hayes has been beefing with Gargano, Dunn, and so Braun Breaker has been beefing with Ciampa. He also wrestled LA Knight, and Grayson Waller has had extensive problems with LA Knight, and he's also had some issues with Tommaso Ciampa. So they've been blending these storylines together, but I just felt like it should be a little bit more. I don't know. It feels like something is missing. I don't know. Maybe it's the Pete Dunn thing, because he's so young. He doesn't feel like he fits the motif of what old NXT was. Plus, he was never the NXT champion. So I feel like the guys who represent the black and gold should be like the older, saltier veterans. And I think it would have been a perfect spot for Samoa Joe. If he could have one more match, it'd be perfect for Samoa Joe to be just an addition to the War Games match. He can even take Pete Dunn's spot, which would be great. LA Knight, it's another one, because He's just on this team because he's old. Like LA Knight isn't like a NXT diehard. He wasn't there forever, you know. So it's not exactly the way I would have it, but it's good enough. It's good enough, and it's got some of the right guys in it. Ciampa and Gargano, two of the right guys to be in it. Hayes and Tony D'Angelo, the other two right guys, and Braun Breaker, of course, best guy to have in this match. Braun Breaker and Tony D'Angelo being on the same team, I cannot wait. They're going to have so much fun. If they do like a promos or something like that, it ought to be very fun watching them do their thing. It should be awesome. So, in talking about the War Games match, I did mention our boy Joe Gacy, whom I love and admire. I love and admire Joe Gacy. He's a nice man. He still triggers the wrestling intelligentsia, which is, of course, is really good for me. I really like that. I really like that guy. he's triggering the right people as far as I'm concerned. Of course, the character and the character work is what really gets me involved and why I really like it. But this guy has been really good. So our boy Joe Gacy. Now, in talking about the LA Knight Grayson Waller fiasco, where they fought. Before that, Joe Gacy cut a promo where he wanted us to have no fear. He called us his community. Then he says he's going to bring a new sense of belonging and become our provider. After the fight that never ends, Joe Gacy apologized that he couldn't teach LA Knight how to handle his issues peacefully. To which Diamond Mine interrupts. Diamond Mine says, when Bivens says that since they interrupted him, well, he interrupted them rather, last week they decided to return the favor. And they showed up 5 deep to get in Joe Gacy's face. Said he was still in the spotlight and told him to get his thesaurus-reading ass out of here. Oh, what a great... This was excellent. So, Joe Gacy then told Malcolm Bivens that he has no problem with Diamond Mine, but he has no respect for Roderick Strong and the Cruiserweight title. He has no respect for Roderick Strong because his very name evokes toxic masculinity. And he has no issue. He has no respect for the Cruiserweight title because because it incentivizes weight shaming. It's the fat shaming title. And everybody, what made this so fucking funny? Everybody in Diamond Mine is looking at this guy like, what the fuck is he talking about? And he's dead serious, bro. He's dead serious. He talking about the Cruiserweight title separates us instead of bringing us together. Like, what the fuck? So then Roderick Strong had to get a microphone and fuck all this up. Everything about him is just dry as fuck. Man, he dry as shit. So he says, of course, that he doesn't care about weight limits. And he was looking for his next money match. And it seems that he's found it. So he challenged Joe Gacy to a match at War Games. Or, well, Bivens said he's going to make sure it happens. So now Joe Gacy, who's 250 pounds, is going to wrestle for the Cruiserweight title. because he's going to make the belt more inclusive. So that means they're about to kill the Cruiserweight division. Joe Gacy's about to murder the Cruiserweight division and turn it into what, an open weight division? Oh my God. That would be, for starters, the only way for the open weight division to work is you have to have other kinds of weight classes. So the Cruiserweight division has a unique purpose. Yes, it is the fat shaming title. You can't be a fat Cruiserweight. It's just not going to happen, bro. Everything about this was great. It was excellent. How Gacy looked at Harlan, how Harlan was looking at Diamond Mine, how Diamond Mine was looking at them. I forgot all of these people were heels, by the way. Like, they're having a heel program, over the cruiserweight title, and it somehow makes sense. Somehow this makes perfect sense. Because Joe Gacy is a guy who he's an SJW. That's his gimmick. And SJWs do find and obsess over small things. I think it would have been, of course, better if they'd have let it build a little bit more. Like they started with Joe Gacy with the whole him drawing a diamond mine, all that kind of stuff, him trying to or tryouts or, all that crap. When he really should have just said it from the beginning that he disagrees with the cruiserweight title and that it divides people and he believes it incentivizes fat shaming. And, maybe get some testimonials from some people who say that they feel fat shamed about a cruiserweight title because it's a title they can never win. And put Roderick Strong on his heels, really lean into it. Like, I love the idea of it. It's controversial as hell, but by that same token, he has to go after the women's title too, right? The women's title divides. It's not inclusive. The men's title is also not inclusive. So you have SJW Joe Gacy, who's going to try to flip every... Theoretically, his character should be spending his time in NXT trying to flip every title to make it as inclusive as possible. So that means every title is going to turn into some mush of, pointless, like a tag team title. Why only 2 people? Why not 6? That's the same concept with the postmodernism, If 2 is too divisive, then either everybody is 2 or there should be no tag team titles because not everybody's going to have a friend. Not everybody can compete in the tag team division. So that means everyone should have a singles title. Not everybody can be a cruiserweight, so you can't have a cruiserweight title. What is gender? What is man and woman? There's no real difference, right? So what do you even need a women's title for? What do you even need a women's tag team title for? I know I'm going too far with it. And I'm going way to the extreme. But if you really wanted to dig into this character, those are the kinds of things we should be looking at. If he wants to make everything inclusive, why stop at the cruiserweight division? You could treat him like a, like in the camel's nose concept, where once the camel gets his nose in, it's just a foot in the... mixing my metaphors. The camel's nose is just the beginning before the rest of the camel eases his way in. So once he is able to be 245 pounds and wrestle for the Cruiserweight Championship, who is to say that he can't be male and challenge for the women's title? I've seen a lot of people say that the men's champion, there is no men's title. It's an open weight. It's an open gender belt. And people have said this for a long time. Oh, the best of the best can be the world champion. But you have to be a woman to be the women's champion. It's all stupid. I'm going way too far with it. But I'm just thinking of the possibilities that we could do something fun with this guy. But of course they would never have Joe Gacy wrestle Mandy Rose for the title though. It's too goofy. Right, and it's a little too on the nose. But starting with the Cruiserweight division is pretty good. I love Joe Gacy. And I'm pretty sure this was his idea. Not thrilled about Roderick Strong and his personality or lack thereof. Bivens is excellent. He says that Roderick Strong is going to beat Joe Gacy like a little John track. Which I think is nice. And I love how Joe Gacy no-sells all threats in his direction. He just smiles and doesn't give a shit. Like, you can't knock him off his square. No matter what you say to Joe Gacy, he just smiles. It's like, that's great. That's awesome, man. So people are going to be confused about why Joe Gacy is wrestling for the Cruiserweight title. And the reason is because he believes the title is not inclusive. So he wants to make the belt more inclusive. He's probably going to make some kind of silly NXT open weight belt or something like that. Which I'm not a fan of, because I think all the other titles are open weight. You don't need to be a heavyweight to be the NXT champion. You don't need to be a heavyweight to be the North American champion. I think all the titles are pretty much open weight. So if they do, but you have an opportunity here, I guess, to make Joe Gacy, I'm assuming he's going to win. That's why they're doing this, is he's going to win the title. And maybe you can have somebody stand up for the Cruiserweight division. I'm pretty sure it can't be Roderick Strong. Who would it be? I don't know. Ike Manjiro? Come on. Let's talk about Toxic Attraction. So Mandy Rose is, she strolls like she's on the runway. Like her walking through the arena, like her walking in a shot looks like she's walking in a shot. It looked like they're like in action, and she just starts sauntering, like not walking like a normal person. Like no normal person would like walk the way she's walking backstage at this point. And she's talking about Cora Jade doesn't belong in the same ring with her, and that she doesn't know. Oh, she doesn't really even know Tony Hawk. She's a poser. And then they find all of the broken junk back there, and they're like, "Ugh, wait, what's all this crap?" And as they walk through, Kaylee Ray is back there with a bat, and she's beating stuff. She's beating stuff with bats. I mean, that's typical of Kaylee Ray, of course. She's always had this bat, and she always hit things with it. For a while now, she's been doing that. So Cora Jade is backstage. She got her headphones on, vibing out. Here comes Zoe and EO. They want to give her some advice. Raquel Gonzalez showed up too, and they start to argue about what happened at Stand and Deliver. Cora Jade then drops the bomb that made everybody pop when she's like, let's not do the can we coexist. It's boring and it's outdated. We just need to find a fourth member. And they just immediately agree to drop all of their previous problems and to work together. Of course, WWE is very, very, very self-aware. And sometimes they're too self-aware. But I think that's part of what people like about the company is that sometimes they can make fun of themselves. Like they know when they do silly shit and they don't run away from it. They're like, all right, that was dumb. Let's make fun of ourselves for doing something silly. Like, they made fun of, like, the gobbledygooker and stuff like that. They do this shit all the time. So this is just one of the times where WWE is making fun of WWE for being WWE. So they have the match, Cora Jade versus Mandy Rose. And Cora Jade still running around with that skateboard, which I absolutely cannot stand. I did see pictures of this Cora Jade when she was on the Independence, and she really used to carry around a coffin. She used to drag a coffin behind her. Now, she's not going to be able to do that because of Undertaker. But they should be able to do something similar. Yeah, get rid of this skateboard, man. Like, her gimmick is being, like, some MTV extra. That sucks. It sucks bad, too, man. So, they have the match. Mandy Rose is clearly in control. When Kaylee Ray comes out there and just starts beating things with this bat. She's, distracting Mandy Rose. Cora Jade rolls her up and wins. I absolutely, I hated this. I never want to see Cora Jade succeed in this way. Not in this form anyway. This sucked. In any event, Mandy Rose lost a singles match to Cora goddamn Jade, and all is a disturbance in the universe. It is a disturbance in the universe with this. I don't like this. I don't like that. I think Mandy Rose, you do have to make Cora Jade look like a threat, but you should have done it some other way. We really should have done some other way. You should put some more thought into this one. So later, Cora Jade is being hugged by Raquel Gonzalez, who lifts her off her feet like a small child. Everyone's really excited. Cora Jade won the big match. She won the big one. She won the title, but she won the big one. Then, Cora Jade asks, like, do you know who that crazy lady is with that bat? And then Kaylee Ray shows up and volunteers to be the fourth member, and then also volunteers to fight Dakota Kai in a ladder match to get the advantage in the War Games. The random babyface turn for Kaylee Ray. Very random, unprovoked. The only thing I can think of that might have provoked her is that she wants to be the women's champion. Therefore, if she has to team up with the good guys in order to do it, she will. Like, that makes the most sense that I can come up with this whole ordeal. But her babyface turn was very strange, and her arms are very muscular. And I don't know how I feel about her arms and stuff. I don't know what they came up with this character for her to hit stuff with bats either. Like, where did that come from? What's the rationale behind that? I would like to sit down with Shawn Michaels and ask him, like, Where did we come up with this? You know, she's going to hit stuff with bats and she's going to break plates and stuff. What's the point of this? Where are we going with this? What is she mad about? You know, she got some underlying issues. We need to get Dr. Stevie in here. What's going on? What do? You get Dr. Nash. We need that psychiatrist that helped Daniel Bryan find out who he is when he became the yes man and the no man. Is that what we need? Because somebody has to explain to me how this woman. Now, I'm getting it. She didn't have any gimmick when she came from NXT UK. So she got to have a gimmick of some type. But why did we come up with Rage Machine carrying the bat? Where did that come from? What was the thought process? What's the creative of this? What's the sketchboards? Where's the drawing sheets for the character designs? Where's all that stuff come from? I don't know. Because it seems like it came out of nowhere. Moving on. Kaylee Ray completes the team. So now it is Kaylee Ray, Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez, and Cora Jade versus Toxic Attraction and Dakota Kai in the women's War Games match. And likely, like in the men's one, Cora Jade does not belong. She does not belong. But, you know, I guess she kind of needs the rub. You know, there's nothing wrong with her being in the match. You know, it's just that I feel like she's a hanger-on. You know, but I'll give her a shot. They haven't done a lot with Cora Jade, and they haven't let her work any real matches. Like, most of her matches are short, really short. And she hasn't. I don't know what her finisher is. I don't even know if she has like a dominant move or anything like that. I have no idea what's going on with Cora Jade. She was like a jobber 1 minute, and the next minute she's this, mixing it up with the main event women. Very strange, very odd booking, but it's okay because you just fill in spots. Dakota Kai is, you know, top level at this point. I think that, you know, Kaylee Ray and Dakota Kai could have killed it in a regular match, but what do I know? I'm just guy talking about wrestling on YouTube. All right, so another big thing that I loved so very much, Cameron Grimes and his new look. This was fucking awesome. This fucking ruled. Cameron Grimes comes out there. He looks like X-Pac from 1998. And he starts talking about the significance of his beard and his hair. Where he says that he grew up in a small town in North Carolina. And every day he was essentially bullied and told he wasn't good enough. But he showed them that no matter how many times he fell down, no matter what he had to do, Cameron Grimes, hold it down. Then he said he kept his beard after all of his success, after making it in this industry, after striking it rich. He kept the beard and he kept the hair to remind him of the hard times, to remind him who he really is. So it's a very interesting thing that they chose to say that he wants to still see that poor bullied individual in the mirror every day. I guess to motivate him. You know, sometimes people are like that. You know, some people are motivated by the weirdest things. I never would have thought people are, you know, and it's a very interesting gimmick. You know, very interesting thing. Then he says that Duke Hudson humiliated him, embarrassed him, but the worst thing about it is he made him angry. Then we get Duke Hudson. He's in the barbershop on pre-tape, clearly waiting for Cameron Grimes to recite his part. Then Duke Hudson says that, why are you mad? You won a lot of money from me in the poker game, and you got a free haircut. Said he's trying to make Cameron Grimes a better human being. Cameron Grimes said, okay, let's be better human beings. Said that he wanted to fight him at War Games, which Duke Hudson said no. And then Cameron Grimes said that he's nutless and gutless, and said that he should fight him. And he's wanting to up the stakes, hair versus hair, to which Duke Hudson finally accepted. We got ourselves a good old-fashioned lucha de apuestas, a bet match, a wager, and I like how we got here. I think still that the segment they did, the big poker game, it set up the concept of these two guys being betting men, But I still think it was too long, and we probably shouldn't have done that. At least not in the ring. Should have did it pre-taped or something like that, where we could cut it down. But we've established that these two guys, they like to bet. They like to raise the stakes. They like to take it to the next level. And this is, one of the highest points. And I really like this. I really, 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 really like this. And Cameron Grimes has won me over. I think around this time last year, I was fuming every time Cameron Grimes came on TV. I thought he was one of the worst wrestlers in the world. He's completely garbage. He's a laugh and goof. But now, gotta say, man, he's one of the best on the show. He is fan-fucking-tastic. Every time I see Cameron Grimes, he's excellent. His matches are good. His character work is very good. His promos have really come around. He has really evolved a lot since coming to NXT. And I'd be damned if I'm not going to give him credit for it. Cameron Grimes rules, man. Cameron Grimes rules. Duke Hudson, he's still coming along. He's okay. He's still coming along, though. Give him some time. Give him a little bit of time. Duke Hudson seems to be very confident, but at the same time, he has an issue getting, his words out, where he seems to overthink his promos instead of letting things flow naturally, even if you flub it and screw it up. He seems to, hyper focus on getting everything correct, but he's doing okay so far. So Indy Hartwell she gives us a medical update on Dexter Loomis. He's going to be out for a month with the fractured hand, so he lost his ability to draw and express himself. Persia Pirotta offers to handle this match herself. They have a match coming up. Indy Hartwell's like, no, I can participate. I can be in it. This is going to be good for me. Didn't go that well. They wrestled Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter and was defeated. Indy Hartwell's heart was not in it. She was distracted, and therefore she lost. They're building up the Persia Pirotta Indy Hartwell feud, and you can see it coming because Persia Pirotta wanted to wrestle the match by herself and felt like she probably would have won. But instead, she tagged with Indy Hartwell, and Indy Hartwell is the reason why she lost. So I wouldn't be surprised if next week we don't see Robert Stone showing up again, dressed like Prince, and talking to Persia Pirotta and saying like, hey, you would have won that match if you'd have wrestled it by yourself. You don't need Indy. A couple of sprinkles more here, a couple of more sprinkles there. And all of a sudden, Persia Pirotta and Indy Hartwell is a feud rather than a partnership. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that too. So Santos Escobar, he's back, which rules. It kicks ass. Class, sophistication, raw power. These are the things that make Santos Escobar special. He has a match with Malik Blade, which of course he wins because Malik Blade is a job guy and they dribble him all over the place anyway. Escobar then again took backstage for La Madrina to take the mic to say, look what happened to Zion Quinn when we offered him an opportunity to join Legado del Fantasma, but we never needed him anyway. And said that now that they're back at full power, now that Santos Escobar is back, it's time to start winning championships. Before they even got to challenge for the tag team titles officially, Von Wagner and his pet Kyle O'Reilly came out there, and they started to talk, and people were booing them. People were booing the hell out of these guys. People were booing the hell out of these guys. Von Wagner complained and said they got unfinished business, that his foot was on the ropes when he lost to Legado del Fantasma. And they yelled at each other for a little bit. Imperium showed up with Marcel Bartel wearing one of the most obnoxious turtlenecks I've ever seen. I mean, I swear to God, man, he looks like he's about to go to a business meeting. It is awful. It is an awful turtleneck. He made fun of everybody for only speaking one language and that they don't really speak the languages that they speak. Then he ran them down and said, oh, how about they fight each other and they will wrestle the winners. Then the match was set up. It will be Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Legado del Fantasma, which will consist of Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. And the winners will wrestle Imperium for the tag team championships, which I'm guessing is going to be Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Okay, fine. And I'm guessing Zion Quinn is going to be the reason they lose, leading to Zion Quinn versus Santos Escobar. All right, fine. That's all good. I like all of that. Zion Quinn, sexy boy Zion Quinn. All right. Okay. Andre Chase was showing off his new campus. And when he ran into Cameron Grimes and told his students to not make decisions when they're mad because it might cost you a lot, including your hair. To which Cameron Grimes told him to go to hell. And I was expecting Andre Chase to snap and challenge him to a match, like right then and there or something like that, but he didn't. So I'm guessing they're going to have the match next week. This is all fine. All right, so Tiffany Stratton. They did a promo for Tiffany Stratton. It is a character which seems to be stepped right out of the OC or something like that. Like, it's a really Valley Girl type of character who she's a rich daddy's girl. And she's talking about, daddy paid for my tennis lessons. Now I have the best serve on the court. And daddy says I'm ready to run NXT. And he's never wrong. Then she said my favorite line. She says that, that she wasn't born with a silver spoon in her mouth because silver is tacky. which is excellent. I love that. It really put the icing on who the character is. Crazy thing about this, I've already seen clips of Tiffany Stratton because she was on 205 Live recently, and that was up on the YouTube channel. So I saw clips of that already. But this really triggered the wrestling intelligentsia. It triggered the wrestling intelligentsia for numerous different reasons. For starters, a lot of people think that the character is too stereotypical. I don't think WWE has ever had a rich daddy's girl character outside of Stephanie McMahon. Like, they've never had this character before. So I don't see how this is like a stereotype that they do a lot. It's like, this has been Stephanie's gimmick, and it's been almost Stephanie's gimmick exclusively for 20 years or something like that. Now, is this girl going to be better at it than Stephanie? Probably not, because Stephanie is tremendous. Right? Stephanie's one of the best ever, if we're being honest. When it comes to working gimmicks, she's one of the best ever. So I don't expect Tiffany Stratton to be just as good as Stephanie McMahon. But I don't believe that it is a character that's been run into the ground either. I mean, these chicks still exist. I mean, you can't really run a character into the ground if you have never had that many of them. Second, anytime a chick says daddy is always right, she gets a thumbs up in my book. That means she's got the right mentality. The character is going to be a spoiled brat, which I think is great, but it also triggered the wrestling intelligentsia because they think the character is too similar to MJF, as if he created the gimmick. But the difference I see, at least from what I have seen, is that they're probably going to go a little bit more clueless, a little bit more, like I said, MTV with this character, and not so much into the shock jock angle that MJF is going. I think she's probably going to be more of a Richard Holiday. If you've ever watched MLW, Richard Holiday always talked about his lawyer / his father, which is great. I love Richard Holiday. He's fantastic. If Tiffany Stratton is even a quarter as good as Richard Holiday, she's going to really strike gold in NXT. They posted her Twitter account, and she's calling herself the Buff Barbie. So I'm guessing she is really muscular too, which of course a Valley girl would never actually be. I mean, I cannot imagine some girl who daddy pays for everything. She actually went and worked out and got muscles. Like, I can't believe that. I don't believe that one at all. But I mean, this is wrestling. We have to go a little bit with our imagination. But I'm just kind of floored how people find these characters so offensive. Before the character even had this opportunity to do anything offensive, they are offended by the character. It's so stupid. These people are dumb. If I was Tiffany Stratton, though, I would study Stephanie McMahon. But you should also probably look at Taya when she was in Impact. I think that's probably what WWE more wanted her to be. And I will also look at Taryn Terrell in NWA. Like, she's a bit of a bimbo, the Taryn Terrell. But she has the annoying part of the character that you probably want, the bratty part. You got to have that part down. So hopefully she's, been working on this gimmick for a while. But she looks athletic as hell from the clips that I saw. I didn't watch the whole thing. I probably saw like 10 seconds of it. So she looks like she's going to be athletic, which is good. She's blonde, which Vince likes, and Kevin Dunn, they really have a thing about blondes. So it's all the work. I like it. And a lot of people, some people said that this is the new generation era because of all the gimmicks. I'm like, fuck you. What's wrong with that? Shit. You gotta do it. This 20 years of nobody ever having a gimmick, and my gimmick is being me, has really run people off. People like characters. Let's do characters. There's nothing wrong with, everybody should have a gimmick. The fuck you mean? Or is this a new generation era? Now, we shouldn't go back to people having jobs. Like, I'm the local trash man gimmick, or I'm the local plumber. Maybe we shouldn't go that far. But everybody having a character that can inform what they say and do, there's nothing wrong with that. At least let it be a jumping off point where we can start building some personalities here. Why is everybody so scared of personalities in wrestling? What the fuck? What the hell do you guys think wrestling is? It's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's more than just the action. Come on. Ivy Nile, I forgot she even wrestled on this show because her match was very short, but her finish was badass. And this is the best thing about this. Ivy Nile wrestled Yulisa Leon, but the interesting thing is she did chin ups while she had her in a head scissor. Interesting thing about that is that's actually her working the head and the neck. So when she did a counter hold into a dragon sleeper, and it was a beautiful dragon sleeper too, very inventive. And the chick tapped out. It wasn't sudden. It wasn't like suddenly out of nowhere. It was like almost as if Ivy Nile was preparing to use this move anyway. And that's what made it so impressive. She's very good. At least from what I've seen right now, she's very good. She's very small though. So I am concerned that when she goes to the main roster, she's going to be like a ditz or something. They're going to give her like a diaper gimmick or something stupid like that. But she's built. She's going to need a little bit of help with charisma. But I think standing there in Diamond Mine, they have the perfect way to portray her. And with her being on the Titan games and everything, we know that she's probably agile and everything too. So she's strong, she's agile, but she's very small. I think she might be able to get over. I dig it. So MSK went out for a little ride. They think they're driving too fast when really they're driving too slow. They get stopped by the cops. They toss a black bag back and forth. They find out they were driving 7 miles an hour. They get pulled out of the car where they start talking about going to jail. And Wesley says he's too pretty for jail. To which Nash Carter says that he got too much cake to go to jail. To which Wesley says that, yeah, you thick. And I just... I don't know, man. I laughed at first, but I was like, this is some weirdo shit. But, whatever. It's modern day comedy. It caught me off guard, though. I will say that. But after the end of this, after they were released and let go, I knew that for sure it's Rob Van Dam. Whoever told me it was Rob Van Dam that was going to be the shaman last week, you were correct, sir. Because this is a play off the Rob Van Dam Sabu getting arrested thing. Which, of course, they had this super nice car, which begs the question, why didn't they have a car before when they walked like 100 miles? But this is very interesting. Rob Van Dam is going to be brought in as the shaman for MSK. That ought to be fun. That ought to rule. I had, in my mind that it would be Jeff Hardy. But I'm guessing Rob Van Dam is going to be the guy. That works for me, too. I like that. Solo Sikoa cut a promo to which he said he used to have day ones, but now he's all alone and he will fight anyone. He did the one finger thing that the Usos always do with Roman, and then he kind of looked at it sadly and turned it into a fist. So they're trying to save this character by basically acknowledging that he's an Uso. If you couldn't tell by looking at his goddamn face, we're just going to acknowledge it a little bit and still kind of try to salvage this street fighting champion character. It's like, come on, man. Just send his ass to SmackDown. Just just send him to SmackDown and let them bring him along. There shouldn't be any problem with that. The Usos shouldn't be taking pinfalls and shit anyway. I mean, let the rookie brother do it. Do a twin magic thing when it's not really twin magic. It's Jay slides out and fucking Solo Sikoa slides in or something like that. Let him take all the pins. He can be like Kurt Angle's jobber brother. Who was what was his name? Mark Angle, Kevin Angle or some shit. Let him pull that role. They're still trying to make this guy his own thing, which I can appreciate, but he wrestles like them. If his style was completely different, I wouldn't be this adamant that he just gets sent to SmackDown. But since his style is almost the exact same as the Usos, I don't see the point in bringing him staying there. Grizzly Young Veterans stole a wallet. Then they went out there and lost to Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs, and I was pissed because Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs suck. Grizzly Young Veterans rule, and this thing is backwards. But I did like Jensen and Briggs' finisher, which was the high-low lariats. One with the chop block, the other with a clothesline. Pretty cool. Similar to Total Elimination. But I hate that this happened to Grizzly Young Veterans. It is what it is, though. Then Boa. Boa says that Mei Ying is gone and passed her spirit on to him, but he cannot control it. But when he does, we will come to fear Boa. Then he blew some more smoke. Okay. All right. Ain't no problem with that. Ain't got no problem with that. I did hear that Mei Ying was being repackaged. I think she might as well go ahead and get released. She wasn't very good as Mei Ying. I don't know if she wrestled on the Independents and who she wrestled as on the Independents. But she's very short. She's very short. And it's going to be very odd to have Mei Ying be somebody different with Boa on the same roster, talking about he's been infected with Mei Ying's spirit or some godly nonsense is that. And then we have superhero Xia Li. They completely destroyed Tian Sha. Tian Sha, like the Hurt Business, like so many factions not named New Day, they have completely and totally shredded them. Look what they did to the Wyatt family. Add Tian Sha to the list. They had something cool, and they would not let it run. The Hit Row was another one. Hell, they fired all of them guys. Tian Sha was only together for like 4 months or something like that, if that. And they already got ripped apart, shredded, and repackaged. That's nuts. This makes no sense. Oh, man. So, Mei Ying, for now, is still around. I want to see what her new gimmick is going to be. I got a feeling she's not going to be around much longer. Something just told me when she was sitting on that chair all that time that if she didn't do something that was absolutely spectacular when she got off that chair, that it was probably going to be over for her. Now, I'm glad Xia Li is still around, even though I'm not thrilled with the direction she's going in. I do kind of like the direction for Boa, though. Him being like a possessed demon man. Because I loves me some Great Muta. And we're not doing spit right now because of the COVID and everything. So we're going to do smoke. All right, whatever. We're going to do smoke. It is what it is. I would prefer spit, but let's do smoke. I loves me some Great Muta. Loves me some Great Kabuki. We're going to do something that's going to be in that vein. Go for it. Hopefully it works. Because Boa's been around for a long time. Long time. Him and Xia Li. So I hope whatever they're doing with them, I hope it works. I hope it sticks. Mei Ying, I have no horse in the race. Whether she gets fired or not, I don't know. But I know she's probably the one on the chopping block. She's got to be in trouble. But Tian Sha goes into the graveyard of factions that were cool. That WWE just decided, you know what, for no apparent reason, even if Mei Ying couldn't work, let's say she couldn't work, So fucking what? Let Xia Li kick people's heads off. Let Boa come along and kick people's heads off. Maybe you don't have to do shit, you know? And that could have been so much better. We could have went a long time without knowing Mei Ying couldn't do anything. But I don't know. I still think it's probably got something to do with the Stop Asian Hate thing. And so now they don't want any Asian heels. Wouldn't be surprised if they got rid of the shit for Boa too. You know. Damn these people. This sucks. Anyway, NXT was very good. I like a lot of the character work here. Some of the matches were okay. The main event slapped. The first match was pretty good. Matches in the middle, not too bad, not great. Walked out a bigger fan of Joe Gacy than I walked in. Excited for War Games. All is right with the world, man. Good episode of NXT. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.